Most men over 30 that are training hard, eating clean, are stuck in this weird in-between zone when they're not out of shape, but they're definitely not in the shape they want to be. So in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly why that's happening, how to escape this skinny fat trap, and then give you the three-phased roadmap that we give all our clients to go from skinny fat to building a lean athletic physique. Because of the rise of AI and all the conflicting information that's out there on the internet, most people have no idea what actually works. As a result, they just try this all or nothing approach. They throw everything at the wall, hoping something's going to stick. And they have no real game plan. They just say, right, I'm going to cut calories, I'm going to, go to the gym as much as I can, I'm going to do a ton of cardio to try and become fat burning machines. Instead of getting lean, athletic, burning fat and building muscle, they get stuck in a loop of overtraining and under eating. Now, in your 20s, you can get away with this. When your metabolism's firing at a faster rate, you can recover easily. But in your 30s, we have metabolic fatigue and recovery drop off. And these are really important. If you don't account for these in your training and nutrition, you'll just get stuck in a perpetual loop of overtraining, under eating. You're getting tired, lethargic, and it's a miserable place to be. I know because I've been there. Now, metabolic fatigue is something I see all the time. Just say, right, I'm going to cut my calories, eat clean, and stick to it for as long as I can. But when you restrict and when you push against the body starts pushing back. It's built for survival. It doesn't just want to continually burn fat until you hit your goal. Fat loss isn't linear. It doesn't work like that. And if you're in your 30s, you build up this thing called diet fatigue so much faster. Your body basically goes, whoa, how long are we going to be in this negative energy balance, caloric deficit? We need to increase our energy input because a calorie is just a unit of energy. So it increases your hunger and cravings, and then it tries to reduce your energy output. So you get tired, you get lethargic. And when these two things come together, it's called adaptive thermogenesis. And most people spend months or even years spinning their wheels here, under eating, overtraining, and completely confused while they've still got that stubborn belly fat that won't go away. Number two is the recovery drop off. So many people are trying to train like they did in their 20s or follow 20-year-old fitfluencers on Instagram or TikTok. And the problem with this is when you're a man over 30, you need to find that balance between your training and recovery. If you don't, you're going to build up central nervous system fatigue, muscle damage, metabolic waste, and your performance, your strength, your energy is going to drop. And it's the biggest reason most people find themselves in the skinny fat trap. It's where you have low muscle tone and you have excess body fat. And it's a really, really tricky place to be. I see it all the time. You can't drop your calories any lower. You can't do any more exercise. And most people spin their wheels, scratching their heads, and get really frustrated. And that brings me on to a really important point, guys. There is a massive difference between weight loss and fat loss. In both these photos, I weigh the same. I'm 75 kilos, but the difference is my body composition, my ratio of muscle to fat. Here, my fat's a lot higher, muscle is lower. Here, my body fat is lower and my muscle is higher, but I weigh 75 kilos. And so many people don't realize there's a difference. They end up trying to rush the process, get to their goal weight. They do a ton of cardio, they undereat, and then they really confused. They're stepping on the scale and they've still got this soft, untoned, skinny fat look. And that is because they focused on weight loss, not fat loss. So what most people want is to lose fat, maintain and build lean muscle. My client Charlie's a perfect example of this. He was following what I call this continuous dieting approach. He was basically just dropping his calories, eating clean, cutting out all the foods he enjoyed, like sugar, carbs, and just trying to stick to it for as long as he could. And he was also doing Barry's Boot Camp. It's an exercise class in London where you're kind of doing running on the treadmill, then loads of light weights. He was so confused, felt like his body didn't represent the amount of hard work he was putting in. So when Charlie joined our coaching program, we got crystal clear on his goal. We broke his transformation down into clear phases. This is so important, guys. Because Charlie had spent so long in that loop of overtraining and undereating, he'd built up so much diet fatigue. So the first thing we did is we installed our metabolic reset protocol. We ran this for 2 weeks where we effectively brought him out his calorie deficit, restored his energy levels, stabilized his hunger, stabilized his hormones, leptin and ghrelin, the hormones that are responsible for signaling hunger and fullness, and we reset his metabolism. His energy was back up, his strength was back up, and then once that was completed, we moved into phase 2, the Accelerate Sprint Protocol. This is a short, focused fat loss sprint where we focus on maintaining muscle, preserving strength, and just stripping the body fat off, getting the abs revealed, getting to a place where he was really happy with his body fat without crashing his metabolism, without crashing his energy levels. Then from there, we moved into our lean build protocol. This is where we focused on adding muscle in the right places without regaining fat. And as you can see, we completely transformed his body composition. He went from low energy, lethargic, low confidence, overtraining, undereating, to building an insane physique. I would say this is pretty much the ideal physique most people are trying to get to. Not overly muscular, lean, athletic. And the crazy thing is he had more energy, he was eating more calories, he was so much stronger. He was just in a completely different place. And as you can see, he looks like a completely different person. My client Ben is another example who went from skinny fat, he had that beer belly, that soft, untoned look, that stubborn belly fat that wouldn't shift, to building a insane physique, getting really, really ripped, really lean, getting that six-pack that he's always wanted. Toby's another example. He was doing a lot of running, cardio, marathon training, and kind of endurance events like Hydrox and things like that. And he was really unhappy with his body composition. He wanted to get in great shape for his holiday. So we cut all that cardio down. We reset his metabolism. We installed our 2-hour per week minimalist training protocol, and he was able to completely transform his body. If you feel like you're stuck in a loop of overtraining, undereating, you feel like your body doesn't represent the amount of hard work you're putting in, I can completely relate to that. And I know how frustrating it is. I was stuck spinning my wheels in a plateau for almost 3 years, and it starts to affect your confidence, because every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you lose confidence, not only in yourself, but also the process. And I know for me, that was having a negative knock-on effect on my mood. I was getting frustrated, and that wasn't fair on my friends, my family, and I knew I needed to do something about it. So if you're in that situation, I've decided to open up a handful of fat loss and muscle roadmap strategy sessions. These are awesome, guys. And as you can see, these have been going down an absolute treat. Here's some feedback of clients that have jumped on these one-to-one calls. It's a 60-minute one-on-one session with me to help you gain clarity and build out a personalized roadmap to burn fat and build that lean athletic physique without wasting time in the gym, without doing a ton of cardio, and without just slashing your calories or building up that diet fatigue and ruining your metabolism. And without second guessing every decision. That's such an important point. When you don't have clarity, you're constantly second guessing yourself. You're jumping from program to program. Most people think if they're not seeing results, they're not doing enough. So they have more cardio, more training, more restricted with their diet, and becomes unsustainable, unenjoyable. They fall off plan and they wait to get motivated again. Maybe they've got a holiday coming up. They're like, I want to get back in shape. And then they just repeat the process over and over again. So if you're interested in this, I'll drop a link to the offer document below. Get crystal clear on what's holding you back, the biggest levers we could pull. And then I build out an 8-week personalized roadmap for you. And here's an example of my client Alex, who came on. We broke everything down into 2 phases, weeks 1 to 4, and then weeks 5 to 8. He was in a maintenance phase, a metabolic reset protocol for the first 2 weeks, and then we dropped into a 6-week fat loss sprint. I've got all his stats, his goals, his calorie targets, phase targets, what I want him to do for his training. And then I linked and broke down everything week by week, break everything down to get you crystal clear on exactly what you've got to do, so you can sit back, relax, and just enjoy the process and start seeing results, start building up momentum, building up consistency. And then when you start seeing results, that's when motivation and confidence appears. And from there, it becomes a beautiful momentum loop. Everyone that signs up gets access to our 21-day fat loss blueprint, which has a minimalist training program that Alex is going to be following with 3 sessions a week, full body split, 12 to 15 sessions per muscle group. And let's have a look at the weekend. You also get access to the weekend fat loss blueprint, which is all the strategies that you need to not only torch up to 1 kilogram of fat per week, but doing it while still enjoying your weekends. You don't have to give up social events, and I show you the exact strategies, AI tools that all my clients are using to do that. This is an absolute no-brainer. If you're interested, I'll drop a link here with the offer document so you can have a read through. If you feel like you're spinning your wheels and you want some help building out that game plan, getting crystal clear on what you've got to do so you can start building some momentum, start building some consistency, start seeing some results, and you want to be able to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the process, then this is going to be for you.